Now, in September, the voters here and across Scotland are going to decide whether we all, both north and south of the border, will soon be living in a new and different country. Yesterday, we were in Stornoway in the Outer Hebrides to find out the views from the islands. Today, we've moved to the heart of Scotland and the beating pulse of the independence debate. We'll argue that out in a moment. But first, Gary has been on the campaign trail where fears of the future and divided identities are being exposed.
Greenock and Port Glasgow, on the western tip of Scotland's main population centre, the Central Belt, where most of the referendum votes will be cast in a contest 139 days from now. And it's a battle that's getting tighter. The average of all opinion polls shows the no lead narrowing. If the trend continued, yes could be in the lead one day soon. Both sides in the referendum campaign believe that estates like this will decide the final result. Normally, around here, Labour can bank on about half the residents being solid for Labour and, normally, solid for the Union. But Better Together campaigners reckon about a third of the traditional Labour vote round here is contemplating independence and needs to be won back.
It's quite a lot to take in, so it is.
I think she's very much in the undecided camp at this point in time.
So you don't think she's going to be leaning one way or the other?
I think she's in the middle.
A Yes campaign meeting in a traditional solid Labour estate in Port Glasgow.
Why the people of Scotland should be voting yes.
The SNP's man quietly chairs the meeting, letting his socialist allies in the Yes campaign loose to stir the audience. They mock Ed Miliband's recent visit to Scotland.
He basically says, wait for a Labour government. Just wait for a Labour government. Just wait. You know, watch your standard of living plummeting. Wait for a Labour government next year. And I think he tends to forget, we waited on 3 Labour governments. We had 3 Labour governments and they were why should we wait for another one?
The Yes campaign message is, London's lost faith in the welfare state and the NHS. You need independence to keep them. Many here lost faith in London in the 1980s, when these towns were transformed. In Greenock, where once they built great ships, they now load and unload them. The main international export now, not heavy industrial goods, but whisky.
Around Greenock and Port Glasgow, the riverbank, the community and employment are dominated by Scott Lithgow.
The vast shipbuilding industry died a slow death in the last 2 decades of the 20th century. With it went thousands of jobs here, for some weakening the ties that bound Scotland to the United Kingdom.
You stand in the middle of one of the busiest shipyards in Scotland and look at it now, it's a car park, do you know what I mean? And that's the way it's been with a Conservative government. They just took everything away from us.
But if there was a vote today, right now, yes or no?
Yes or no? It'd be no.
There was thousands and thousands of men employed in this town, thousands of them, and every one of them was discarded.
And you know independence won't bring that back, but you think it'll make it
back, but it will make sure that it never happens again to us by another country.
What happens if we leave? That's a bit worrying, with all the scaremongering.
But it's getting to you, the scaremongering.
Yeah.
It might hold you back.
It might hold me back.
The Labour head of the local council here thinks the No campaign has made mistakes. George Osborne coming up here and wagging his finger at the Scots saying you can't have the pound. That hurt your cause, didn't it?
I think initially it did, and it probably wasn't the best way to get that message across. Perhaps Ed Balls coming up and putting the same message across might have been slightly different. But I think that issue is resonating with voters. When I go to the doorsteps, there is a lot of concern about not having the pound in future. Our poll suggests that central message of the No campaign, that an independent Scotland would not be allowed to join a sterling currency union, is believed by only 38% of the population here. 45%, including a sizable chunk of no voters, don't believe it at all. And all of that is contributing to a rethink at the top of the Better Together campaign. They're trying to put a more positive spin on their fundamental message about the risks of independence, telling the Scots, you created the very good deal you have with the United Kingdom, why rip it up and start again all over from scratch? Does that worry you if they do change their tack and try to be more positive in the No campaign?
I genuinely don't believe that they can change their tact with this at this late stage in the campaign.
To have a relentlessly negative campaign for 2 years and then in the last 4.5 months try to change it around and be positive, I don't think they can.
Together we can make our world.
Judge for yourself. This ad goes into Scottish cinemas this week.
We want to stay together.
For our jobs, for our opportunities,
for our future.
We're better together.
You're not undecided at all?
No.
Okay. Well,
I might vote for a no. No, I would say I would vote for independence,
You sound a bit undecided to me. Just a nagging doubt?
I'm undecided.
Gosh, I don't know. Just on the fence with it.
But you'd like to vote yes, you said? You'd like to vote
I would, yes.
But you're not sure you will?
Not sure, no.
Is that heart and head? Heart pulling you one way, head the other?
Aye.
Heart for yes, head for no.
And in the end, what tends to win for you in big decisions, heart or head?
Head.
Greenock and Port Glasgow endured great blows to their old employment base. A referendum may be decided by whether recent formative history makes communities like this willing to strike out in a new direction or fearful of the unknown. Gary Gibbon, Channel 4 News, Greenock.